Now, it's great we're getting in front of people and hopefully from there being able to win your first digital marketing client, but we need to take a step back and a deeper dive into what it actually entails when you need to have a call with a prospective digital marketing client. It's all very well and good being able to get in front of people and talk to them and get them enthused, but this is the point where you really need to be able to sell and you need to be able to convince them enough that you are the right person for the job in order to be able to win their work. When it comes to a call, there are kind of two different methods of entry. Either that they will cold call you directly after finding your phone number online, or more often than not, you'll have some kind of email beforehand. Either they will email you or you'll be introduced by someone else to them. Now, in an ideal world, that is the best possible scenario because it allows you the time to go away and research who they are and who their business is. At this stage, it's really useful because you can understand a bit more about them and you can work out whether or not it is a right fit for you. It also means that you can learn a bit more about their business and the aspects of digital marketing they're interested in. So if they were interested in social media, you'd go away and look at their content. If they were interested in SEO, you'd go away and look at their online visibility. All that allows you to build up a bit of a picture as to actually the work you may end up doing. And when it comes to the call, it allows you to demonstrate your expertise over the phone so that they can recognize that you actually know what you're on about and that you've taken an active interest in what it is they do. When it comes to replying to that email, always try and arrange a time when you're going to speak so that both you're free and they're free and you're both in the right mindset to be able to talk about an aspect of digital marketing, but also try and define a rough period of time or how long you're going to speak for. Subsequent calls can take ages or they can be over very quickly, but it's important that with all of this, and as great as it is to potentially win a sale, that you have got a huge number of other things going on. Now, to be upfront with you, potential sales can take a huge amount of time. This is just one part of them. So at this stage, try and allow a sales call to be ideally no more than half an hour. This is essentially just a relatively informal conversation to both you and them to understand a bit more about each other. Now, when it comes to calls, this is something which, to be honest, I'm still a bit unconfident about and been pretty unconfident through most of it. In an ideal world, I'd like to be able to speak to someone face to face rather than just over the phone. So when the opportunity presents itself, if you can do it over something like Skype as a video chat, then do. The person on the end of the call might not be particularly willing to do so, but it allows you to demonstrate your body language, which, as we all know, is a much bigger communicator than actually what you're saying in terms of the words. And again, it allows you to see them, they to see you, and just adds a bit more personality to things. Now, when it comes to actually starting this call, most clients will fall into three categories. The first will be that they know they need some aspect of digital marketing but have no idea what. The second will be that they feel that they need an aspect of digital marketing but aren't quite sure of the ins and outs. Or thirdly, they are more probably an experienced business and they have already applied an aspect of digital marketing and for whatever reason they need a review of it or it isn't working for them. So to give you some examples for all three of them, someone would come along and say, I feel like I need more leads from my website. That's a very broad, general, I have a business problem and I need digital marketing to solve it. Second route might be, I've been told that SEO is quite a useful thing in terms of building up my traffic. Is that something you can help with? Or thirdly, the conversation would run something along the lines of, oh, we hired someone for SEO previously, but the traffic has subsequently dropped and we're looking for other people to work on it. All you need to do on this call is ask them to explain what their problems are. Ask questions, be curious, be interested, and ask about the business. Ask about what they do and how they started up, if it's appropriate. At this stage, you're just wanting to show enough interest and they essentially just want to dump a problem on you. How you go about answering that problem isn't something that you really want to cover off at this stage. It's not to say you can't, but at this stage, more often than not, you actually need to go away and do some research. There's so many nuances with particular aspects of digital marketing that it would be almost wrong up front to say, you need to do this as a consequence of whatever information it is they've told you. By saying that you'll come back to them and you'll go away and do some research also allows you some breathing space. And from there, what we'll go on to do is actually put together a digital marketing quote, which will take you through on the next lesson. The other important thing that you need to ask is about timescales, both for them and for you. The information that they provide is a very good indicator for actually whether or not you can take on the work. Some people will say that they need their work done immediately. Some people might just be shopping around and, might be looking at taking something on in a couple of months. I've had a couple of instances recently where, someone will say, I need someone working on it this week. And, I'm just not in a position to do so. So although it might sound like a great client, it's not going to be right for me at that time. So it's important to be upfront and get that information. The other thing that you need to address on this call is prices and costings. Now, subsequently speaking with someone on the phone about how much you charge is always a bit of an awkward conversation. It really shouldn't be, but it is. It's one of those things though, which it is much easier to do now rather than to then take it further, to go away and do research and maybe have another follow-up call, maybe a meeting, and then get to the stage of discussing prices. The thing that I've already mentioned is the fact that doing a sales process takes time, and that takes time away from other work, that takes time away from investing in additional marketing for yourself. So you want to try and keep this process as efficient as possible, but also where you're not cutting corners. Now, how much time that is a really hard balance, but one way to draw it back is to actually sound them out for pricing. There's a few different routes you can take with this. You can just be upfront and go, my hourly rate is, and go from there. So to give you an example, I might say to a client, okay, well, my starting price for SEO services is £60 an hour. Now, with most clients, I don't work any less than 6 hours a month, but I'll go away and do the research to establish if you need more than that. So that gives them a guiding price as to how much they can expect to spend. The other way, if you want to be slightly less direct, is saying, well, with the other clients that I work with at the moment, they pay X. All you have to do at that stage is put that number to them and go, so how does that sound? If you can, hold the silence, and they will either come back with one of two answers. Either that will be yeah, that's fine, in which case you may need to question whether you've underpriced yourself, or they'll come back and say, oh, actually, is there anything you can do about that price if? Obviously, people on the other end of the phone really looking to negotiate and drive down a price, in which case it might not be the right client for you. But it's one of those things where you have to weigh up whether, taking a reduced price could be beneficial to you in the long term. There is no right or wrong answers with this. It's a lot of gut feel, but you will, by asking that question and by being upfront about your pricing, very quickly determine whether or not, it's going to go anywhere. There are going to be some clients who want the world for nothing, and in which case, just leave them well alone. There'll be other work that comes along in the future. But at this stage, at an early stage, it is a lot of trial and error as to what you can do. But take it from me, try and be upfront about the pricing rather than spending potentially hours doing research and going forwards to try and progress a conversation when actually, in reality, the client might have £100 but needs a complete digital marketing strategy. It's just not going to happen. So to try and summarize what you need to include on a call, you need to make sure that you allow them to explain their problem and to talk about the specific nuances which they may have with that. You then need to go through timescales and you need to go through pricing. But from there, you then need to say to them, I will get back to you in... Now, how long it takes you to put together that digital marketing quote, I would probably allow more time rather than less, because I've had instances where I'll say, right, I'll get back to you by the end of the day, and the day just disappears with a whole variety of other things. Most businesses will expect a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. If you can do it quicker and you are much keener, then great, but don't feel like you have to immediately turn around and respond with having done the research and detail. If anything, it can make you look a little bit needy. And bear in mind, a lot of businesses are shopping around, so they're going to be waiting on other people to come back to them as well. So for the next lesson, we'll cover off what is included in a digital marketing quote, but hopefully that provides a good structure for how to take a digital marketing call. As I've said with all of this is all experience and this is all a learning curve. So your first couple of calls may be uncomfortable. They may not go the way you wanted, but it's only by having conversations with businesses or the audiences that you want to get in front of that you'll kind of know the way you should be speaking to them, the details to include and not include. And that just comes from experience. But identifying all those things up front is probably going to put you in a best position to be able to hopefully win that digital marketing work.